On a quiet summer night in December 1994, Alison Botha's life was forever altered by a brutal attack. What should have been an ordinary night turned into a horrifying struggle for survival. This is the story of unimaginable violence and how one woman fought against death itself. Alison Botha was a vibrant young woman living in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. A night out with friends had come to an end, and as she drove home, she felt a sense of calm. She parked her car near her apartment building, completely unaware of the nightmare waiting for her. Suddenly, two men emerged from the shadows. Francois van der Westhuizen and Thans Kruger, both dangerous, violent criminals, forced their way into her car. Armed with knives, they made their intentions brutally clear. They forced Allison to drive away from the safety of her home, taking her far out of the city to a desolate area surrounded by sand dunes. The fear gripped her as she realized there was no one around to help, no one to hear her screams. At gunpoint, Allison was dragged from the car. The men raped her, and as the assault continued, their violence escalated. But they didn't intend to stop there. They had decided she would not leave the scene alive. What happened next can only be described as a vicious attempt to silence Allison forever. Armed with a knife, Thans Kruger began the assault. He slashed her throat once, twice. The blade severed her windpipe, and Allison's head was nearly decapitated. Blood poured from the gaping wound, and the silence of the night was pierced only by her shallow, desperate breaths. The sheer violence of the attack was beyond comprehension. With her windpipe cut, Allison was left unable to scream for help. The attackers believed she was dead, but they didn't stop there. In a final act of cruelty, they stabbed her multiple times in the abdomen, 35 times to be exact, leaving her intestines spilling out of her body. After the brutal stabbing, the men stood over her lifeless body, satisfied that no one could survive such a monstrous attack. Believing Allison to be dead, they left her there, bleeding out in the sand. But Allison wasn't dead. In an extraordinary turn of events, her will to survive overpowered the damage inflicted on her body. Though her windpipe was cut, she somehow managed to breathe through the wound in her throat. Though her abdomen was viciously stabbed, Allison mustered the strength to do what seemed impossible. She pressed her hand against her neck, holding her severed windpipe in place. She pushed her exposed intestines back into her stomach, ignoring the agony as she dragged her body through the sand. Her determination was beyond comprehension. Every inch she crawled was a battle for life. With her strength fading, Allison managed to reach a nearby road. Through sheer willpower, she flagged down a passing motorist, collapsing just as help arrived. Against all odds, she had survived. Allison was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Doctors were astounded at the extent of her injuries. Her neck had been sliced open, her abdomen ripped apart. She had lost so much blood that survival seemed impossible. But Allison defied the odds yet again. Over the next few months, Allison underwent multiple surgeries to repair her injuries. Though the physical wounds would heal, the emotional and psychological scars would last a lifetime. Thanks to Allison's testimony, the police were able to quickly identify her attackers, Francois van der Westhuizen and Thans Kruger. They were arrested shortly after the crime and faced trial for their heinous actions. Despite the horror she had experienced, Allison bravely took the stand. Her testimony was chilling, recounting every brutal detail. The evidence was overwhelming, and both men were found guilty of rape, attempted murder, and kidnapping. They were sentenced to life in prison. Allison's story is more than just one of survival. It is a testament to human resilience. In the years that followed, she became an advocate for survivors of violence, sharing her story to inspire others and promote awareness of gender-based violence. Though the scars will never fade, Alison Botha has shown the world that even in the face of pure evil, hope can prevail. Her survival was not just physical, it was a triumph of the human spirit. Alison Botha's story is a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there is a light that cannot be extinguished. She fought against death itself and lived to tell her tale, becoming a beacon of hope for others who have suffered. This is the story of a survivor, a warrior, and a woman whose strength will never be forgotten.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe our channel True Crime Tales for more true